Okay, hit the
Recording in
record
progress.
and timer. Hi, folks. Thanks for streaming. This episode of Yumio to Ohanashi features the author of the Runaway Home series, Catherine Mannet from New York. Thanks for joining here, Catherine. So, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, I'm Catherine
Mhm.
Manette. I
Thank
am
you.
an author. I
Mhm.
have written two books,
Mhm.
both in the same series, the Runaway Home series. The first one is Tempered, and the second one is Shattered. They both follow the same characters throughout, I guess you can say, their journey and in coming of age.
I see. Coming of age. So, coming of age. That means it's a kind of away from the fantasy or
Not fantasy.
not
It's
fantasy.
definitely realistic fiction. It's actually about two adults who have just aged out of the foster care system and the trials and tribulations that they face moving forward. One of them has a very big dark secret that he keeps from the
Oh.
other, and that's kind of what keeps the plot moving along. So a little bit of an air of mystery.
I see. Relevant mystery. Thank you. So, first of all, can you share your latest accomplishment or your temporary goal?
Yeah, so I would
Mhm.
say my latest accomplishment
Mhm.
would be, well, there would be two. One would be publishing the
Mhm.
second book in my
Mhm.
series, Runaway Home Shattered.
Mhm.
I also just got a promotion at work.
Oh,
I
good, good.
have a day job, so I work
Hmm.
as a caseworker for the Department of Social
Casework.
Services here in New York.
Oh, wow.
So I actually help run homeless shelters.
Oh.
A little bit of what I do, and that does influence my writing. So although I
Uh-huh.
write fiction, there are a lot of social issues that come across in Runaway Home.
Oh, sounds very interesting. So the since your Runaway Home Tempered was released on January 1st, 2024 this year from Red Penguin Books, and the
Yep.
second book, Shattered, was released on April 12th, 2024, just 2 months ago from
Yep.
Emperor Books. So can you briefly describe these two, such as story, characters, and so on?
Right. So the book follows three main
Hmm.
characters. That's Peter,
Hmm.
Haley, and Danny.
Peter, Haley, Danny.
So Peter and Haley live in the same foster
Uh-huh.
home. They've both just turned 21 years old, and
21.
they're aging out of foster care, and they're going to start their lives together as adults. So they get in an apartment together, and
Uh-huh.
Peter decides to adopt Danny, who is another child who's in foster care. This is not what Haley wants at all. She wants to kind of live a carefree life. She does have a drug addiction.
Oh.
Peter kind of gets into this situation where he's raising a child and also trying to help Haley as best as he can with what he has. He does have a dark secret that he keeps from her, which is slowly revealed throughout the plots
Uh-huh.
of novel one and two. So it, like I said, contemporary fiction, social issues mixed in. I wanted to write a story that was both engaging and gripping, but also taught its reader about serious issues that we actually see here in Long Island, New York.
I see. And how many books are you going to plan to publish? Or just these two, or
No, this series is going to be a three-book series.
I
So
see.
the third book should be coming out in April of 2025 is what I'm
Next year.
aiming for. I'm writing it now, and I'm not going to stop writing after Runaway
Great, great.
Home, and I will be writing more books. Absolutely. I already have some plans, but I haven't talked about them yet.
I
So
see. Yes, that sounds pretty interesting human drama because it involves those young people and they have their turmoil life and on their way and they have to nurture themselves and yes, it's the
absolutely.
typical of those the coming of age and they have to be grown up from young amateurish people to professional people. Sounds pretty
Absolutely.
interesting. I see, I see. And how about the? Do you recommend this story to your like teens or you aim for more adults?
It's funny because I originally wrote this
Hmm.
for adults. I would say just
Hmm.
like 20 to 30
I
would
see, I
enjoy
see.
my book. That's what
Hmm.
I thought.
Hmm.
But then I realized and found out that a
Hmm.
lot of teenagers were reading my book and
All
enjoying
right.
it. So it does have some adult concepts, but it seems like teenagers love
No,
that. So
that's
I'm
great.
like,
That's great. That's
okay,
great.
sure.
Yes,
I think anyone could read my book and get something out of
I
it.
see, I see. So it's more of a wider audience. You're aiming for wider audience because the many indie
Absolutely.
authors try to narrow down the readers. So that's
Mhm.
kind of why. And some authors love using those swearing in the dialogue. So
Right.
I see, sounds great. And also the your characters were 20s, so probably those teens can resonate more. I think.
Relate. Absolutely.
Yes, thank you. And which genre do you think you're good at?
So I think I'm mostly good at contemporary young adult fiction. That's what
Contemporary.
I've been writing. But I am thinking about moving into more of a thriller type of
I see.
perspective after Runaway Home. It's funny because even though Runaway Home, like I said, is really just general fiction, there are some elements of it that surprise people because I don't without giving too much away, there is some drama that can be taken as thriller almost aspects in the book. So
I see. I see. Thriller. That sounds pretty much promising for your next project. And what was your major influence?
So, like I said, my biggest influence in this series has been my work and my
Your
life.
work.
So, I've always written because it's cathartic to me, because I've been able to express my feelings through fictional characters. And especially with what I do now as a caseworker for the Department of Social Services, I see so many issues that need to be brought to light, that people need to
Uh-huh.
be aware of, that we can all, try to maybe change. And like I said, I wanted to write something that people would want to read and is interesting and is a gripping read, but also something that kind of opens their eyes about social issues that are happening right here at home.
I see. Yes, because the social workers are not that kind of. I think it's not that kind of major job. That's why we have lots of those mysteries thing about it. And I think you're taking advantage of your life experience, and that sounds pretty interesting. That's great. So,
Thank you.
are you a pantser, plotter, or prancer?
So I think I'm a mix of all three,
I
because
see.
although I know where the book is going and I have it plotted out, all of a sudden I'll start writing my book and
Uh-huh.
then a new character will show up and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, wait, I wasn't thinking about adding a new character right now, but actually, and then the plot gets a little changed. It's like, even though I know where I'm going and I know what I want to say with my characters in my book, there's always something changing as I'm going,
So
surprising myself.
you're kind of improvising sometimes, like
Yeah.
depending on your feeling, and you want to
Yes.
for instance, you're reading other people's books or the watching films, and then you get inspiration, and you want to add those kind of elements. I see.
All the time. And
All the
that's so
time.
funny. It kind of leads into like when people ask, what is your book comparable to? I'm all over the place. I'm like, oh, well, my book is kind of like You by Carolyn Kepnes, because of the age of the characters and the technology, the text messages in it. But oh, my book is also kind of like As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner, because
Uh-huh.
of the different perspectives. So I can go, like I said, books from years and years ago, and then contemporary books. So I'm all over the place.
Yes, William Faulkner is kind of one of the toughest authors for me to read because I'm an immigrant,
Yeah.
and he writes a lot of the wall of text in each paragraph.
Yeah.
But I think he made a lot of the interesting stories for us to study. So, how do you compose
Absolutely.
your characters and dialogues?
So my characters come to me, I like I could be driving. That's where I get a lot of my inspiration from. A lot of my characters' habits are based off of myself. Like my main character, Peter, I'll throw in little things here and there, and I'm like, oh, that's a little bit of myself. Like, that's something that I've been through, or something that I've said or done before. The dialogue really just comes from listening to
Uh-huh.
conversations. I mean, our whole lives we've been listening to people talk, different people, not just, not just children, not
Yes,
just
yes.
adults, but hearing real conversations and understanding how people actually share their ideas with others.
Yes.
So I try to create personas for my characters, and then from there imagine how they would try to express themselves to each other, and try to make it as natural as possible.
I see, because the Japanese language is pretty interesting because Japanese language, male and female speak in a very different way, even though they speak about the same content, such as the female often say this way or something like that. So that's why the Japanese language is also interesting. How about the when composing an action sequence, do you first image it in your brain to visualize the thoughts words randomly, or do you have your own way?
Oh no, I visualize it
I see,
first.
I
I'm
see.
a very visual writer. So like I said, I'll either be driving or doing some sort of repetitive task, and I'll think of a scene that I'm going to write, and I'll have to picture it first. I have to be able to see it before I can write it down. So it's almost like a movie in my brain
I
before
see.
it can become words on the page.
I see, because it's interesting that the 90% of the authors pick this question, and most of them answer like, "Ooh, I'm visual. I kind of
Yeah,
image first, and then they try to create by writing." I see,
right.
thank you. Can
It
you,
has to be a
yes,
movie in my head before it can be written on the page, for sure.
visualize. Yes, that's a great part of the us writers. Writers can visualize pretty easily. And how
Right.
about the, can you name three recommended books that quickly popped in your head?
Sure. Oh, I'm gonna go with what I was just talking
Yes,
about. So I would say As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner, classic. I love that, but very dark. I
yes.
always give people warning that I recommend dark books. I'm a dark writer. That's just how I roll. Sherry LaPena, The Couple Next
Charlie
Door.
Pan.
That's a mystery. I love her. She's one of my favorite
Couple next
authors.
door.
And I'll go with a indie author like myself, William J. McGee, Half the Child. He's actually my editor, and
Oh,
we write
oh, oh,
similar
oh.
kind of family dramas. So I love his work as well.
I see, I see. So indie author and actually your editor, that's great. So I think
Yep.
William, he
William McGee.
William
William
McGee.
J.
I see,
McGee.
folks.
He writes family
Yes,
drama too.
folks, you can try to dig his Google his name and read his work. And how
He's a
about
great
the?
guy.
Yes, I see. Thank you. And what are your hobbies other than writing and reading?
I have some strange hobbies. Well, not
Yes,
strange, but
yes.
different. I compete in beauty pageants.
Oh,
That's something I've been doing for since I was 16. I haven't done
wow.
one in a little bit now, but I was Miss Queens, for the Miss America system, and I
Right.
was Miss Long Island Teen
Oh,
in 2012 and
wow, wow,
Mrs. New
wow.
York American Women of Service. So I've had a couple of different titles. Haven't done one in a while, but that's something that I
Wow,
enjoyed my
that
entire life.
that is kind of a significant experience. Very
Yeah.
few people will experience. I see, and also you got the results. That is great. That is great.
Yeah.
Beauty pageant. Wow.
Yeah,
I
I like
see.
bowling too. That's something that I
Bowling.
do every week with my parents. Actually, we're on a bowling league.
I see. So bowling, and what is the highest score?
My highest score is not that high, probably like a 185,
Well, not
nothing
bad.
too crazy. It's okay, it's okay. Like that's rare. It doesn't happen that often, but like I had one very good game and I believe the score was around a 185-ish.
Oh, that is
So,
good. That is 180
yep.
is a pretty good, solid score. And how
Yeah.
about the what kind of people do you love hanging around with?
Oh, I like to hang around with funny people.
Mm-hmm.
My friends in college are all creatives, also I would say like
Mm-hmm.
writers, artists, poets, people who can make me laugh, and my friends really
Mm-hmm.
definitely do that. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely creatives. I'm always surrounding myself with them.
Yes, yeah, I kind of through this my Twitter account and also the this interview segment, I got to know a lot of those creative people. And what are they good at? It's because all of them are positive people and try to create something from zero, and that's how I got the influence from. And I'm so lucky that I could meet with the yes, people like you, Catherine too. Okay, thank you. And how about the we've got less than a minute, so let's wrap up. Any message to those watching this interview?
Yes, if you're watching this and you want to be an author, I say go out and do it. Start writing right now. You cannot edit a blank page. So even if you don't think what you're writing is great, it can always be edited.
Yes, I think I forgot the one writer says the same thing. You cannot edit a blank page, and that's
Yep.
kind of the my kind of a memorable phrase because you have to write something, and then you gotta go on a heavy edit. I see.
Mhm.
So finally, what is the most encouraging phrase that you recite when you want to pump up your motivation or crawl out from rock bottom?
Oh my God, that's honestly a hard one. Because
Really?
as authors, we go back and forth between I can't believe that I made this. This is great, and then oh, this is not so good. So I like to think about. I had a post recently about how I had a book signing and I
Uh-huh.
only sold 2 books, but then
Uh-huh.
I was told by so many of my author friends that there have been so many famous authors who have had the same exact situation
Uh-huh.
and have come and made themselves better and have had bigger events after that. And it's so funny because that event happened maybe 2 weeks ago where I only had 2 books sold. The very next weekend, which was a couple of days ago, I sold about 14 books at a Barnes and
Oh.
Noble, and I was thrilled. So I just keep telling myself that better days are ahead, and I just have to keep working hard and keeping at it.
Yes, we all experience up and down in our daily lives. So I see. Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much, Catherine. Her book is
Thank
called
you.
the Runaway Home series. So, folks,
Yep.
if you're interested in Catherine, please pick her work and follow her account at CATHERINEMANETT. Truly appreciate
Yep.
your participation in this segment, Catherine. So, wish you great success. We'll keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.